Hello, welcome again to the wet, wonderful world of golf in the Sanford International, presented by Cambria here at Minnehaha Country Club in Sioux Falls. And as you can tell, it is blustery, little break in the weather here, joined by Andy North. God bless you for coming out here and joining us.
Thanks for doing this.
Under these conditions. And we were just talking about some of the shots in the open there. The golf course is going to be fine, we hope, later in the week. All this is going to move through, but it put a damper on things today, didn't it?
Well, it's disappointing when so many people have done so much work to get to this point. David Swift and his crew with maintenance, I mean, they've done an unbelievable job. The golf course on Monday was perfect, absolutely perfect. But they've got some work ahead of them. It's going to rain. We guess it's going to keep raining for another 12 or 14 hours, and once it stops, we're going to have a wet, soggy golf course on Friday, and by Saturday afternoon and Sunday, we're going to have a nice golf course, and we'll get to see some great play. So it's all going to happen. It's just disappointing when so many people have done so many good things to get it to the point, and then Mother Nature does her thing.
And it's going to turn out well in the end.
Absolutely.
We believe
Absolutely.
that. You did get out and play 9 holes in the Pro-Am,
I did.
the Midco Pro-Am today. What was it like out there today?
It was a little soggy. Greens are beautiful. That's one of the things the players have all talked about is, one, how tough the greens are to putt because of the undulations and stuff, but also how perfect they are. So if you get in there and you get the ball in the right spots on the greens, you can make some putts.
We keep hearing about this. This is some of the practice rounds from yesterday. Carlos Francos told us they have very much break in these greens. And we keep hearing about that. Is it true?
Yeah.
Is there more severe breakage on these greens than some of these other courses these guys play?
They are very severe. Basically, that's the defense of this golf course. And I think you'll see guys struggle, and the guys that putt well, you got to look at a Steve Stricker, for example, the way he putts. He's got to be a favorite.
All right, you talk about David Swift as well, the course superintendent here. And let's talk about the rough here a little bit as well, not just the greens, but the rough comes up. He calls it Country Club rough. Is all rough not created equal, or is the rough even different here?
We had rough here, 3 weeks ago that was probably 5-6 inches long. The membership is... I had a member come up to me yesterday. He said, "Boy, really thank you for having the tournament here. My handicap has gone up like 5 shots, but I'm going to kill people when they start mowing the rough back down." But there's plenty of rough. They mowed it to 2.5 inches. They probably won't be able to get mowers on it the rest of the week. So by Sunday, probably you'll see 3.5. But it's thick enough. The ball goes to the bottom. It still is a penalty, but it's not so bad that you can't play.
All right, and all of that is kind of the old school feel that people keep talking about here at Minnehaha Country Club.
Absolutely.
What does that mean? When they're saying that, what do they mean?
Well, I think it's a golf course that gives you a lot of different opportunities. You've got to curve the ball off the tee. You need to curve the ball into some of the greens. There's some beautiful old trees that you have to mess with. There's the tee off the left on the 4th hole, the par 5, that I can't believe is still standing because it has to get hit 100 or 150 times a day. But it's a golf course that's just very playable. It's fun to play, and it's a course that you like to play every day. So from a membership standpoint, it's a wonderful golf course.
All right, and you've talked about, and everybody's talked about this week, they're going to go low on this course, and that is pretty much what happens in a lot of these events on the Champions Tour. But Scott McCarron shot 63 a couple of weeks ago in Canada. Kenny Perry had a round of 60 in Minneapolis,
which is a pretty hard golf course,
and he was 12 under that day.
Exactly.
So you see some low scores. Talking about Kenny Perry here, one of the longest hitter on the Champions Tour right now. But
he's one of the guys that is loving the fact that it's wet, because he carries the ball a long way in the air. This place is right up his alley. I suspect he'll have a great week.
All right, the last 5 tournaments, the winning totals have been 21 under, 16 under, 18 under, 15 under, 15 under. It's going to be something similar to that.
People have to understand that these guys are still really good. They really are good, and they all hit the ball as far as they did when they were 25 years old because of the equipment. Some of them even are longer now than they were then. The golf courses you can't make them long enough really anymore. There's the one thing that's cool here. This is a golf course that there's 3 or 4 really good difficult par 4s. 480, 470, 440 that you have to lay up on, like the 3rd hole where you can't hit driver. If you can play that group of holes really well, you can shoot some low scores.
All right, we'll talk about some more of those guys that could be contenders this week when we come back with Andy North and a review of John Daly's singing ability when we come back with Andy North here at the Sanford International at Minnehaha Country Club.
Midco Sports Network, live from the Sanford International, is sponsored by Sanford Power Golf Academy.
Welcome back to Minnehaha Country Club, and the Sanford International gets started here on Friday. Back with Andy North, and Tom Byrum was here today. Had a press conference. Mr. South Dakota, he's from Oneida, said that he started playing some of his best golf when he got into his mid-50s. Are there some things in this game that you might get better at the older you get?
Well, you're not going to be stronger. You're not going to be faster.
Right.
The one thing, hopefully you're a little bit smarter than you were when you were a kid. So, and maybe you've played a lot of the golf courses. A lot of times you go to the same tournaments every year. You get to see those golf courses. So I think, hopefully mentally you're a little bit sharper. And maybe you've learned a few things. Maybe you've learned how to handle yourself a little bit better. Sometimes that's a problem when you're younger. Things get a little out of control. Sometimes when you're older, they get a little out of control. But I think hopefully that side of it.
All right, we got a little profile here of Tom Byrum and his numbers this year with the Champions Tour. Do you know Tom? Have you played with Tom a little bit? What's his game like?
Well, I think Tom's strength his whole career he's been an accurate driver. He puts the ball in play, and he's very consistent. He's never going to overpower a golf course, but he's consistent. And when he has his good weeks, he does everything pretty well.
All right, and talk about these players over 50, and Tom talked about this today, how good the competition is, and everybody's going to be blown away when we get to Saturday and Sunday, how good these guys are when you see them in person.
Absolutely.
Is there somebody in their mid-50s right now, or a 50 or 51-year-old that could go and play on the PGA Tour, not win, but be competitive?
Stricker's been playing a bunch of golf on the tour this year, and has played well a handful of times. There's a lot of these guys. I think the one neat thing about how well the guys play out here is you go look at the Masters and look at the guys over 50 that have played well in the Masters every year for the last 10 or 12 years. I mean, we've had some Langer and Couples that both finished in the top 10 a couple of times. I mean, that's amazing, and that's a hard, long golf course. So having some experience, having some moxie is a big part of playing this game.
But we keep bringing it up. When we get out here this weekend, these guys
There's
really
going to be
good.
Great scoring. There's going to be a lot of birdies. A lot depends on the wind here. If the wind blows here, that makes it a lot more difficult. But if it's decent weather, which we hope it's going to be this weekend, we'll see some great scoring.
All right, last thing. John Daly was on stage playing guitar last night and singing. You say you have seen this many times before.
This act it's gone around a few times.
Is he any good or not?
John's actually not too bad. John actually has cut a couple albums.
Yeah.
He enjoys doing this, and so many of the people in the audience loved it. So it's fun to see John do this.
And what about his game? Is he a contender here this weekend?
Well, he's coming in here hurt. He withdrew last week, and he came in here early on Sunday, and Sanford put him through a ton of tests, some MRIs, he had a couple of injections. And so hopefully he's going to feel a little bit better, and he'll be able to play Friday, and we'll see a John Daly and have a lot of people out here having fun watching him. And
he's another guy that you get asked about constantly, right?
Well, John is people want to see him play, and we love that. We love the fact that he wants to play out here, and people want to watch him. We need draws, and you go out to watch somebody, and a lot of people are watching John.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Andy
Absolutely.
North, for joining us here.
Sure, we'll see you again this week at some point in time.
All right, Andy North, appreciate it. All right, up next, Tom Byrum, as we mentioned, back in his home state to play in the first ever PGA Tour event in South Dakota. He's played at Minnehaha before, but it's been a very long while ago, to say the least. Welcome back to Minnehaha Country Club. The Sanford International gets going on Friday. And let's talk about Tom Byrum. He's from Oneida, South Dakota. It's a town of about 600 people out just northeast of Pierre. And Tom and his older brother Kurt put South Dakota on the PGA Tour map when they both won events back in 1989. Kurt now works for the Golf Channel. Tom is playing on the Champions Tour. And Tom met with the media today to talk about playing in his home state in his the first professional event here in South Dakota, and his connection to Minnehaha Country Club. Tom Byrum is excited that his fellow pros get to see a little slice of South Dakota this week. And even though he is the guy from here, he says it is not by any means his tournament.
No, I'm not looking at it like that. I'm just excited to be back in my home state playing golf. And I think it's great that the guys that I play with every week get to see the people that I grew up with, and all this excitement that and they're coming around and they're kidding with me a little bit about being a homeboy, but this wasn't where I grew up, even though I played a lot of golf here.
It has been a while, though. Tom and big brother Kurt did used to make regular trips from Oneida to Sioux Falls, but his fellow pros are not looking to him for any local course knowledge this week because he says it was way back in the day the last time he actually played at Minnehaha Country Club.
1985, I think, was the last time, so they're not picking my brain too much. There's holes out there that I can't recognize because they weren't there, and I don't remember it. I remember some of these holes, but not like it was just the other day. But I used to play this course really well. I came down here and I'd stay with Ray Laird, who's a member here, and we just move into his house and play every day. Terry Krause, the old pro that was here, he was great. Letting my brother and I come out and practice and play. And so it was a big help for us to have this to be able to come to when we were younger and get our games ready for courses that were in this kind of condition that we would have tournaments on. So we were here a lot.
Byrum will turn 58 years old later this month. He's been playing on the Champions Tour since 2010. And while the older guys might not grind quite like they used to, they are still very competitive and they can still play.
A lot of these guys, like Kenny Perry, he's taken his all-time money exemption on the tour and going back and going to play some events next year. So, that shows you right there who I'm playing against every week, and there's Fred Couples probably could go play any tour if any wanted to and still be competitive. He's got the length, and when these guys like him and Bernard go play the Masters, it seems like they always pop up, they're always making the cut or competitive, and so there's plenty more of those too that just don't have the names. There's a lot of competitive guys that still play well. Not everybody's as long as the tour players, obviously, but there's still plenty of length and a lot of great shot making and just all aspects of the game. You get to see that.
Byrum and the champions do have a little more laid-back schedule than the regular tour guys. 3 rounds of competition instead of 4. You don't have to make a cut, and you get 10:30 tee times instead of 7:30. He says the golf is the same as it ever was, but the atmosphere is just more fun, and he is having a great time playing as a champion.
Once I got into my mid-50s, I started playing pretty well. I don't know why, but golf got fun again.
Well, Byrum and the champions do have the expectation of playing in 2 Pro-Ams every week, and the Midco Pro-Am did go on this afternoon to some extent. Our Midco Sports Network producer, Max Jensen, did get out and got to play a few holes with one of the champions' pros, who is also a college golf coach.
These Pro-Ams are the lifeblood of the Champions Tour. This is, we have 2 of them this week. They support all the charities. They support a lot of the event, and it's a big part of kind of getting the Champions Tour into the communities and getting people to come out and support it. And it's a fun way for the amateurs to play with these great players of yesteryear. These guys are the best players the last 20, 25 years. Especially this being the first time this event's been here, guys are trying to learn the golf course. And with the weather this week, it's been hard to get out on the course. So it's great to have an amateur group that understands that and lets you chip and putt a little bit around the greens when you're done. And but I've had great experience in Pro-Ams. When you embrace the new people, embrace meeting new people, and enjoy the day, it's a really, really fun day. I want to compete. I'm here to compete. Physically, my game probably isn't where I want it to be right now, but mentally, I'm refreshed. I'm excited. I want to come compete hard and see what I can do. I was excited to come to South Dakota. I haven't spent much time here before and heard great things about it. The people are great. The community looks awesome. The golf course is an old-style golf course, which I like. And I know a lot of the guys out here like the old-style golf courses that kind of we grew up on back in the day. And it's in great shape, and it's going to be a fun week. It's kind of throwback event maybe a little bit. It's not big time city, big commercialized stuff. It's just kind of just homegrown, home-funded, people in community supported, and that's kind of fun. There's a lot of events out here on this tour like that. And like I said, the guys kind of gravitate towards that because that's kind of what it used to be 20, 25 years ago. To get the crowds they're talking about out here is going to be kind of exciting to see.
Well, those guys played the back 9 today. Mike Small made 4 birdies and shot 32. Max Jensen double bogeyed the first hole and shot 38 today. Is that right, Max? Nice effort, though. All right, up next, our nightly installment of Course Management. We'll take you out to the 12th hole and see why this par 5 is going to make or break a lot of rounds this weekend for the PGA Tour champions.
Midco Sports Network, live from the Sanford International, is sponsored by Sanford Power Golf Academy.
Welcome back to Minnehaha Country Club, and time for some course management. And this is a flyover look at selected holes here at Minnehaha Country Club that are going to play a big part this weekend in the Sanford International Tournament. Tonight we go out to number 12. It's the one up on the cliff, and there are going to be some eagles made on this hole this weekend. Probably a lot of birdies, but a 6 or a 7 is also not out of the question. It's one hole that's going to give the players an opportunity to make a move one way or the other.
This is one where you're going to see the boys, they're going to loosen up some spikes. I mean, they're going to swing pretty hard. Very generous landing area out on the golf course, and they are ultimately very similar to number 7, where we play it as a par 5. They're going to try and play this as a par 4. They are going to do everything they can to get the ball as far out as possible to give themselves the opportunity. I think on Sunday, this is going to be one of those holes where you're going to see some guys, once we get out in that fairway, good, bad, or indifferent with the tee shot. If it's in play and I've got a good lie, I might put a 3-wood in my hand and give her a good rip. We're right at that 275, 280. With the prevailing wind, it's going to push it off. You're not going to get any extra distance. So most of the balls that we'll see will probably be in from here to the next 15 yards. It's going to be a 3-wood hybrid. Some of the guys that have some of the longer driving irons, they'll fly some of those in. Every player that's playing golf in this tournament, they are that good, and you put a hybrid in their hand, and I mean 5 feet, 10 feet is what their misses are. They're not missing it like most everybody in that 30 and 40 yard range. If golfers start thinking ahead or start thinking back, you can talk yourself into making a motion, and you can make 7 here just as easy as you can make 3. There will be a lot of others on this hole. Depending on if it's a front pin, I think you'll have guys that'll be just firing it right up at this pin. We talked about hitting those 3 woods. I think to that back pin, you're going to see a lot of that. But middle pins, I think you'll see a lot of the players using this whole bowl that does set in here. You get the opportunity to use a backdrop, they love it. You know, everybody does. Everybody loves to be able to spin the ball backwards. So, you know, it's fun to hit it up on a hill and watch it chase down. And, you know, it kind of reminds me a lot of shots at Augusta where you are truly playing a bowl and how that whole shot will break by your approach, not just your putt. 3s or 7s, I think we're going to have a lot of others. I really do. I think this one's going to surprise some people.
All right, there will be a spectator area to the right side of that fairway on number 12, and it'll give you a really good view of those guys trying to go for the green and 2 out to your right there, and then you've got the 5th fairway behind you if you want to watch the guys come down and play that as well. And that hole, number 12, is going to look great on Golf TV this weekend when they come in for their the Golf Channel when they come in for their coverage on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And as Mickey said, 3s to 7s on hole number 12 coming up this weekend. Well, up next, we will tell you what's coming up tomorrow here on the show. We'll take a look at what looks like a very innocent par 3 at Minnehaha Country Club, but it has one of the most treacherous greens that you will see anywhere. Welcome back to Minnehaha Country Club, Midco Sports live here at the Sanford International. Again, the tournament gets started on Friday. 3 rounds in these PGA Tour Champions events. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for competition. There is still a Pro-Am coming up tomorrow on Thursday. And Andy North told us they are going to try to get that in. The times might change a little bit. They're going to go out and play the par 3s on the course. They will bring out mats so they don't ruin any more grass than what has already been trampled here with the rain and everything else here in the first couple of days. But if you are scheduled for to play in that Pro-Am coming up on Thursday, you might want to check on your time because those are probably going to get moved back a little bit for the morning session and the afternoon session in the Pro-Am on Thursday. Well, the weather is kind of moving out. We're in a little lull right now with the heavy rain about an hour ago, and expected more here tonight at Minnehaha Country Club and moving through the Sioux Falls area, but expected to stop by the time Thursday night rolls around and then into Friday, maybe a little bit more then. But when the tournament gets going, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, hopefully the conditions are very good here for the first PGA Tour event ever in South Dakota here at the Sanford International. Tomorrow here on the show, we've got Steve Stricker and David Toms. They will be in town with press conferences tomorrow morning. We'll let you know what those guys have to say about being here in Sioux Falls. We'll be here on the set with a interview with a player to be named later, so tune in tomorrow night here on Midco Sports Live at the Sanford International. We're going to take you out with a flyover look at one of the par threes on the course, and this is the shortest hole, the shortest par three here at Minnehaha Country Club. But if you want to see some adventure this weekend, go to the number 8 hole and hang around the green on number 8 for a while. Take a look at the approach here, and it looks innocuous, but these tour champions are some of the best putters in the world, but this one might give them some fits depending on where the flagstick is for the 3 days of the tournament. You got ups and downs and curves and breaks and places where a golf ball just will not stop. So check it out if you are coming out this weekend. That is the 8th green here at Minnehaha Country Club. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow night on Midco Sports Live at the Sanford International.